Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian. I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria, British Columbia here on the west coast of Canada. I hope everybody is having a good start to their weekend, staying healthy, staying strong, and productive. In this class, everyone, we are focusing on the listening section, specifically the challenging part 3 and part 4, understanding how to finish with that band 9. Hi, Kyber. Nice of you to make it in this class. Students, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS success. Please visit us there. For the general IELTS, check us out at GIELTShelp.com. That's general IELTShelp.com. On both of those websites, we have loads and loads of materials to help you improve your communication and your English so that you can get those nice high band scores on the IELTS and also succeed in life, in school, in immigration, and work. Hi, Rashika. Hi, Akshay. Welcome, honey. Nice to see our members coming into the class. This is our Academic IELTS website here with the blue background. You can click this big red button. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. It's just a fraction of your IELTS exam cost, so definitely worth it. We're a British Council registration center and certified agents as well. For the general IELTS, it's the green background. You can click that big red button to join the premium package there. And again, lots and lots of materials with videos, practice exam strategies, and of course we have apps as well. You can get the app Academic IELTS Help, General IELTS Help, and those apps link to the websites. For sure, check us out on Instagram. We're really building out our Instagram profiles, IELTS_AEHelp, GIELTS Help. We've got lots of videos, multiple choice questions, daily vocabulary, so it's great to join our Instagram as well. So lots and lots of help, and lots of it is free. So you don't have to pay for everything. There is a lot of help for free. If you like the free stuff, definitely worth getting the paid stuff. All right. If you have a question, send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com. Members, just a quick reminder, tomorrow for the members chat class, it will be a Q&A class, so questions and answers. Please try to be there, even if it's an early time for you. We can talk about the class times. I'd like to get a little bit more feedback from members on preferences for class times as well. We're kind of in an experimental stage here in this month in Victoria, so I want to discuss and get your feedback. So tomorrow we're going to have Q&A, and we will have a speaking part 3 for everyone also. But for now, we are going to be looking at listening, and specifically we are looking at section 3 right now. This is exam number 1 for those of you who have our books. Of course, you can get our books from Amazon as well. Welcome, David. All right. Hello to you as well. Rise and shine. Hope it's going to be a great day for you. Okay, everyone. So I'm going to get right into the listening, and I'm going to play the audio through my microphone headset and a nice Bose speaker. So answer while you listen, just like in the real exam. And just an important request, do not put your answers into the chat. Give everybody a fair and equal chance to answer the questions on their own. So please write your listening answers into a separate document or separate piece of paper, and then we'll go through the answers together after, okay? So we're going to get right into the listening here. This is, again, listening section 3, and go along nicely with the text. You probably remember from yesterday, if you were in the class, that this is going to be something about a group project, okay? I'm just going to hop back to our website here. Go into my student account, and then end my tour. And I'm going to get into my audio CDs. And in my audio CDs, this is going to be CD1, track 3, because it's exam 1, part 3. Here we go, everyone.
Turn to section 3. Take some time to look at questions 21 to 26. Listening section 3. You will hear 3 students organising a class project. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 26.
I just got an email from the professor saying the due date for our European History group project has been pushed back to Monday.
Great. That means we'll have the weekend to work on it.
I suppose that's good news, but I don't really want to do any homework on my weekend. I had planned to go away with my girlfriend for some relaxation this weekend.
I suppose that's understandable. Maybe we should just have it done by Friday, the original due date. That gives us today and Thursday to finish it.
We can do that, I think. I'm available tomorrow. How about we spend today planning it, assign tasks to take home with us and do tonight, and then meet tomorrow and put it all together? Does that sound right?
That works for me.
That doesn't work too well for me. My afternoon is very busy. I guess I'll just have to burn the midnight oil tonight.
What has you so tied up, Evan?
I have a basketball game after school today, and then my favourite football team plays this evening at 7. It's okay though. I'll get the work done. Let's get started on the planning.
All right. So we have to come up with a 3-panel poster about a topic in European history. I already bought the material for the poster, so we don't have to worry about that.
How much was it?
It was £3.
Okay, we'll each give you £1 for the poster board.
No, don't worry about it. My dad paid for it anyway.
Sounds good to me.
Right then, since there's 3 of us, my idea was that 2 of us could take care of the writing part of the project, while 1 of us could look after the artwork, making the poster look smart.
I'll do the artwork. I think I'm a pretty good artist.
I'll be happy to do half the writing. What topics are we going to choose?
Well, the professor said the topic has to be an event that took place somewhere between 1400 and 1800, so we can't do either of the world wars.
That's too bad. My dad is an expert on the Second World War, and he could have helped me with my part. What are we going to do instead?
You now have some time to look at questions 27 to 30. Now listen to the rest of the discussion and answer questions 27 to 30.
I was reading my textbook the other day and I read some really interesting information on the French Revolution.
That's a really good idea.
I know. How about instead of doing a summary of the French Revolution, we write about some of the people involved instead?
Oh, I like that idea. So who are some of the important people?
Well, there's the King, Louis XVI.
Robespierre was important, I think.
Yes, he was. And of course, Napoleon Bonaparte.
We should have 4 people, so you can each write about 2 people.
How about Marie Antoinette?
Okay, so we have 4 historical figures. Each of you are going to write about 2. Now we have to decide how much we're going to write. Remember, we have to fill up a 3-board poster.
That's a good point about the 3-board poster. Maybe we should do a 5th person, then we can have 2 figures on each side with 1 in the middle.
Good idea. We can make the middle one really important. We'll make that one Napoleon. As for a 5th person, how about Voltaire?
Good. So how about I do the important one on Napoleon and a smaller one on Robespierre?
Okay, and I'll do the other 3.
How long should each topic be?
I'd say 200 words each for the small ones and 450 for the big one on Napoleon.
I think that sounds about right. What do you think about meeting up later on?
That is the end of section 3. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
And use that half minute, students, to check your answers. I'm just going to stop the audio and we'll go through the answers together and I'll give you some strategy as well. So here, it's a group discussion, and this is very common for part 3 of the listening to have multiple people talking to each other. So make sure that you are well practiced with this, okay? And let's answer these. So let's see how many of you got the correct answers. I'll go step by step. So here, the first one, it's write no more than one word. These write no more than one word questions, by the way, are very common these days in the IELTS exam, especially in the computer-based exam. I think in my computer-based exam, all of my questions were write no more than one word, if I remember correctly. I did the exam about a month and a half ago maybe, and that's how they were. Okay, so here, number 21, what day of the week does the discussion take place? So when are these students talking to each other? Raj says it's Friday. Mukunda says it's got to be Thursday. Now, Raj, I don't know if it's Friday. Mukunda, I don't know if it's Thursday, but you have to use a capital F and a capital T. Otherwise, you'll get it wrong even if you have the right day. Okay, days of the week are capitalized, so be really, really careful about that. You're both a little bit in the future. The correct day, Prathamesh, Akshay, and Sidesh have it. It's Wednesday. We know that because they say we should get it done by the original due date, which is Friday. That gives us today and tomorrow to work on it, and then we can hand it in on Friday. So that's how we know that it's Wednesday, because they give us the information. So in the listening, they, especially in part 3, they don't often give you the direct answer. That would be too easy. So that they don't say things like, oh, today is Wednesday. It's a great day on today's Wednesday. So they won't give you that kind of information. So you have to understand it from context. Okay, that's really important. So in part 3 and part 4 especially, this is an important tip, everyone. Okay, so tip number 1, for part 3 and 4, most of the answers come from context. They will not directly give you the answer. Okay, so you have to really be careful about that. All right, so from context. When you're studying at home, you can check the transcripts. They're at the back of the book for that. Okay, all right. So these 3 people, these 2 women, this young man, they're talking on a Wednesday. They're talking about a group project, and they discuss the parameters of their project. So here again, no more than one word, the group task and when the task is completed. So what are they doing today? They're actually doing that right now. Honey says they're planning. Yeah. So don't overcomplicate it. That's what they're doing right now. They're planning. So they're planning the project. Now, plan the project, planning the project, both are okay. All right. All right, they're doing the project tonight. This kind of helps you to figure out what these should look like, these answers, and then putting together the project when. And these kinds of words, you really have to know the spelling. You have to be really careful with the spelling. So when are they putting the project together? Yeah, tomorrow, exactly, on Thursday, right? They say the word tomorrow, so it's better to write tomorrow than Thursday. You would probably get it correct for Thursday as well, but since they say tomorrow, you should write tomorrow. Okay? All right. I'm not sure what your question is, Joban Sharma, but if you repeat it and I catch it, I might be able to give you an answer. All right. So question 24, multiple choice. As I mentioned yesterday, you really have to just listen for the answer. Don't stare at the answers. That's not going to help you. Okay, so choose the correct letters A, B, or C. Who paid for the cost of this poster board? Okay, and they have kind of an interesting discussion about this. And they say, oh, it costs £3. We'll each pay £1. And then the woman says, it's okay. My dad paid for it anyway. One of the woman's fathers, yeah. So it's all paraphrasing. She says, my dad paid for it. Sure, don't have to repay dad. That's not true, everyone out there. I'm a dad. We value when people repay us. Us dads. But we do it out of love. We do it out of love. Okay, so yeah, my dad paid for it anyways. Nice, natural English. Sometimes students say, oh, they're speaking so quickly, and they use slang in the audio. The audio, again, remember, IELTS is not simply an English as a second language exam. It's called an English proficiency exam. Native speakers also take the IELTS exam for high school equivalency and for university and immigration as well. So IELTS is not just designed for non-native speakers. So IELTS is designed as completely natural English. They speak as naturally as possible, just kind of like actors in a Hollywood movie. Okay, so they're not going to simplify their language. Okay, so when they use natural, quick expressions like, don't worry about it, my dad paid for it anyway, it's exactly how you would hear it in the classroom. All right, so be ready for that English. That's why it's not good to use ESL study materials for IELTS, because those are often not the exact same as real English. Okay, so listen to real English for the IELTS. Listen to real English. Okay, here we go. Write no more than 3 words and or a number for each answer. The topic must be an event that occurred sometime between the years something and something. They give 2 names. Sadesh, ESL is English as a second language. ESL, English as a second language. Yeah, 14 and 18, very good, honey. They use the word and, so you don't need to have that. You just put 14 and 18. Now, of course, in the computer-based, you just simply put that in. In the paper-based exam, you would see 25, and then you would simply just put 14, comma 18. That's all you need, okay, for the paper-based. For the computer-based, you type it directly, so it doesn't matter, okay? All right. Don't use the word and. It's not necessary. Okay. All right. 26. What topic would the male student like to write on but cannot due to the assignment restrictions? So the man here kind of says, it's too bad. My dad's an expert on this topic. It would have been great if I could have just used this. Honey says World War II. Actually says World War II. Very good. Yeah. And the easiest way to do that, IELTS absolutely lets you use accepted abbreviations. WW Roman numeral 2. Second World War. Sadesh, the W on war has to be capital since it's a name. Prathamesh, Second World War is okay. Fastest way to do it is caps lock WWII. Okay, that is your fastest way to write World War II. When you're doing the IELTS, because it's quite well paced, it's quite fast, you want to use abbreviations as much as possible, okay? So keep that in mind. Just make sure that you're accurate, okay? This is my second tip for part 2 and part 3, especially because they're fast moving, okay? So tip 2, learn to use correct abbreviations for part 3 and 4, especially because these sections, or these, let's say sections, move quite quickly. Okay. So, for example, World War II, okay? Or instead of Wednesday, writing wed, okay? All right. So use those abbreviations. Hi, Eugen. Thanks for that. Cat and Panda. All right. Here we go, students. So getting into the second half, you had a little bit of a break, and then here you really had to visualize. So they're working on a poster presentation. This is a very common type of presentation in many schools and universities. Where do the students decide to put each historical figure? They have 5. Hopefully you were visualizing this. So they have this 3-board poster. You've probably seen this, or maybe you've even done this kind of a project. And they have 1, 2, one main, one in the middle, and then 2 more people on the side. And then for each one, they have a write-up, some information about that. Of course, as we heard, they decide to do this poster on the French Revolution. Okay, and then you had to figure out who were the people and where were they on this poster board, either on the sides or there was one in the middle. Okay. All right, so number 27 was Robespierre. On the sides of the poster, in the middle of the poster, they do not include this historical figure. So number 27, where was number 27? Robespierre, I believe they said, yeah, that should be on the poster, on the side of the poster. So it is A. Okay. And then Rousseau, number 28. Yeah, Rashika, very good. So Rashika says they don't include Rousseau. We didn't hear that name, so that's fine. And then Louis the 16th, the king, quite important, but not as important as Napoleon. So the king goes on the side. And Napoleon, who of course later becomes the emperor of France, is in the middle. Okay, so that was Napoleon there. Okay. All right. And I believe the other 2 people were Marie Antoinette and Voltaire. Right? So, okay, so we have A, C, A, B. Those were the correct answers there. Students, count up your marks. How did you do in this part 3? Okay, for this type of question where you have to identify location, visualization is very, very important. Okay, so you can even draw a quick little picture on your paper like I just did. Okay, so that can help to have that little picture. All right. How did you do? Rashika says 8. Prathamesh says 9. Akshay says 8. Sadesh, 10 out of 10. Nirajan says 7. Very good. So as long as you're getting 7 in part 3, you're doing pretty good. If you're getting less than 7, especially less than 6, careful. There's still part 4 coming, and that's the most challenging part. So for part 3, you want to be roughly at around 7. Okay, ideally. So when you're pushing for those higher marks, you want to be around 7 in part 3. Okay, let's waste no time. Let's get right into section 4. So section 4, we're going to do the same. I'm going to play the audio, listen and answer. Put your answers into a separate document or a separate sheet. Don't put them in the chat because that confuses other students often. Okay, so we will go through them together and you will have a chance to share your answers with each other after. Okay, so worry not. Here we go, students. So let's do this. Okay, I'm going to cut back to the website and just fire up the audio for section 4 here. Again, I'm using my headset, so microphone, so if it's quiet for you, please use a headset. Turn up the volume. I'm max volume on my side, so here we go, everyone.
Now turn to section 4. Take some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Listening section 4. You will hear a professor discussing climate change. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Hello class, hope you all had a good weekend. Today we will be talking about climate change. Life on Earth is going to have some adapting to do if climate scientists are correct with regard to their predictions of the Earth's rising atmospheric temperature. Humans and animals alike may have to change both their habits and habitats. The average temperature on the Earth's surface has risen by an estimated 1 degree centigrade in the last 100 years, and this trend is continuing at an ever-increasing speed. Until now, it seems that business and the environment have met as adversaries. But with the growing profitability of green products, perhaps business can play a positive role in the fight to save the environment. There is an ever-growing consensus that the cause of climate change can be linked to human action. To be more specific, environmental change is caused by the emission of greenhouse gases. Carbon dioxide is chief among these. So what's so bad about things getting a little warmer, you may wonder? Weather patterns could become more extreme. The polar ice caps could melt. Sea levels could rise, and incidences of famine due to drought could also increase. On the other hand, places such as northern Canada will likely become more productive for farming and mineral and crude oil extraction. What isn't positive about the permafrost melting is that the ice is a carbon sink, and when it melts, it releases even more carbon into the atmosphere. It's clear that humans will have to change their relationship with the Earth and its resources, but the debate remains over who should be leading that change. Advocates of personal responsibility claim that small personal measures, such as changing light bulbs or riding a bike, can make a significant difference. On the other hand, governments from developing countries are calling for economic reparations to be paid by developed nations because, after all, it is the rich who cause most of the environmental damage and made money from it. The other major group that has profited from our increasing environmental degradation are corporations. Business has always been about production and consumption. The invisible hand of supply and demand has long run our economic system, and now there is an ever-growing demand for conservation. The question is, when will consumer demand be commensurate with green technological advances that allow for environmentally friendly products to actually be more profitable than those that pollute? One option to speed up this process is to have governments impose true cost taxes on every product that is sold. This would force prices to include an economic pressure to purchase or use products that will not cause further environmental degradation or carbon emissions. There is little doubt that climate change is going to cause a drastic difference to our environment and way of life. The questions that remain to be asked revolve around how to solve the climate crisis and who will pay for the restructuring of our patterns of consumption that have led to these problems. With the ever-growing desire for green consumer goods, perhaps businesses can answer some of these questions by producing environmentally sound products. Even if business has a role to play in saving the environment, it is clear that we all need to do our part.
That is the end of section 4. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
So you have half a minute to check your answers, and in the paper-based exam, you have another 10 minutes to then transfer all 40 of your answers to the answer sheet. So lots of time to kind of double check and make sure that you're getting your answers correct. As you heard, part 4 moves quite smooth and quick. So you really don't have too much time to review and get a deep understanding of all of the questions. Let's go through this, and there's no break, as you obviously noticed. This is very typical. In my exam in February, part 4 was extremely similar to this in structure, and it was about different kinds of dangers to Australian agriculture. And it was talking about insects and different types of fungus and diseases that affect crops in Australia, and I believe some of the solutions to that. And it was very similar. It was a professor giving a lecture on the different types of crops in Australia and the different kinds of diseases and how they're treated and why they're dangerous. So Very, very similar, exactly the same speed, okay? All right, here we go. So, climate change, and it was one-word answers as well. So climate change, background information, humanity as well as other species may have to drastically alter their what? Honey says habits and habitants. No, habitats. Be really careful with spelling, honey. Ravi says habits and habitants. Nope. Sadesh says habits and habitats. That's correct. So habits and habitats. No N there. Because that's habitants. Habitants and habitats are very different words. Okay, be very careful. One letter, of course, can make a big difference. So Earth's surface temperature has risen an estimated 1 degree centigrade in the past century. I believe it's more now. Businesses and environmentalists have been at odds with one another, but the emergence of something may change this. What is emerging in the world? What kind of products, I believe? Okay. Yeah, green products. That's right. The emergence of green products like rechargeable batteries. Okay. LED lights. Okay. Victor, not always. They're not always in British. Sometimes you'll hear Canadian accents or New Zealand accents as well, Victor. Most of them are British, but not always. Okay. All right. In TOEFL, it's even more mixed. You can even hear accents in TOEFL. But in the IELTS, it's mostly British, but not always completely British English. Okay, so green products. Good. Let's keep going. Yeah, so you want to listen to a variety of English for sure. Causes and implications. It's really important to pay attention to headings as well. Here we go. So climate change is caused by greenhouse gases. Specifically what? Specifically, what kind of gas causes climate change? They emphasize this. The professor really puts a stressor on this word, so pay attention to those stressors. He says carbon dioxide chief among these. Yeah, and the easiest way to write carbon dioxide is CO2. They will take that answer. Okay, so write CO2. Carbon dioxide, big C, big O2. Okay, so CO2 is the easiest way. Don't make spelling mistakes if not necessary. Warmer weather can cause extreme weather patterns. Ice caps could melt and famine could occur. Northern Canada may become a beneficiary. As far as food production is concerned, it could become a more productive place for what? And that's happening already. So we're on path for this. That's right, farming. So producing food. Some of my friends that live in northern parts of Canada can now grow red tomatoes. They weren't able to do that about 10 years ago. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, the world's climate is changing. We're starting to produce fruits and vegetables in northern Canada, where those plants only 10, 15 years ago would have frozen and they would not have survived. Okay. I ate a delicious red tomato that my friend grew not that long ago. All right. So a big negative is that the melting permafrost contains a lot of carbon which will be released if the ice caps melt. Who is going to change? People who think each person is responsible for themselves believe that small steps such as using energy efficient what? What should we use? And this is definitely a good idea. It's not the invisible hand, David. It's light bulbs, honey. That's right. Not lights bulbs, but just simply light bulbs. Okay, light bulbs. All right? Light bulbs, B-U-L-B-S. This is a light bulb. It's a good word to know because when you need to replace a light bulb, then you have to go to the store and say, I'm looking for a light bulb, energy efficient LED, 100 watts equivalent. Okay, so light bulbs. Riding a bike, that's a good idea. All right. Governments from developing nations want developed countries to pay them for causing such environmental damage. Economics, the something. This was kind of tricky. You really had to... bulbs is okay. Yeah, Mukunda, I'm sure they'll give it to you for bulbs. Although light bulbs is more accurate. They will likely give it for bulbs. Bulbs is used in some other contexts as well, Mukunda. It's a good question. So you have to be careful because they might not give it to you. When you, like for example, tulips. Tulips have this very interesting kind of seed that looks like this. And that's also called a bulb. Okay, oops, bulb. So bulb is kind of this shape that it describes. The tulip bulbs, it's a tulip bulb. Okay, that you plant in the ground and you get tulips. So the word bulb actually describes the shape of the light bulb. Okay. The tulip bulb has kind of a similar shape to a light bulb. Right, that was a good question. Okay, so governments from developing nations want developed countries. Yes, and it's the... Did anybody get this one? Number 36, it was quite tricky. It was the invisible hand. The invisible hand of supply and demand has been in charge of economics for a long time. Okay, invisible hand, that was a tricky one. If you've heard this listening before, you'll know it. It's hard to get that one, but it is announced. That's for like Band 9 candidates, people who are looking to teach English teachers and instructors. Okay. Economists wonder when consumer demand for environmental products will surpass products that pollute. One solution to this problem is to institute a something tax on each purchase which is deemed to be environmentally unfriendly. Anybody get what kind of a tax? Okay, that was a very interesting one as well. Sadesh says it was a true cost tax. That's right, true cost tax on each purchase. Very good. This would provide an economic something to buy environmentally friendly products. Yeah, so if rechargeable batteries are cheaper than disposable batteries, more people would buy rechargeable batteries. Okay, so this would provide economic what? What would it provide? Economic, yeah, very good. Pressure. It would push people to pay more attention to the environment. Very good. Okay, so true cost and pressure, doing really well. All right. And the conclusion, climate change is going to change our way of life. Who will pay for the necessary changes in our consumption patterns? With the growing demand for environmentally friendly goods, it is arguably someone who can best answer this question. Who is it? Sadesh says, I think it's business or businesses. Yeah, both are okay here. So this is a unique situation where both plural and singular are okay. You could say business or businesses, but careful, in most situations, you have to get the plural singular correct. So businesses which can best answer this question. All right. It is apparent, however, that something or someone have a responsibility to look after the environment. Last question, it was, again, 2 words. Kind of an interesting answer here. Very good, Sadesh. Yeah, we all. So we all, everyone, we all have the responsibility to look after the environment. Yeah, and IELTS is interesting. I mean, sometimes they have like the very specific word like businesses, and then sometimes they just have these kinds of pronouns, we all, okay? And that is the correct answer. So don't think that you can't have an answer like that. Absolutely you can, okay? So pay careful attention. Okay, students, especially if you were in yesterday's class also, quick question. How did you do? What did you get out of 40? What was your total score? It's really important to continuously assess yourself so you know where you stand, okay? Ravi says, in this part, I got 8 out of 10. That's quite good, Ravi. So 8 out of 10 is fantastic for part 4. Students, if you go to our website, and you go to the bottom of the website, I'm just going to stop the audio here. Okay, and you go to the bottom of our website, on both the academic and IELTS and general IELTS, we have this score calculator on the bottom of the website. So you click on that score calculator. Let me darken the screen a bit because I know it's quite bright. Hey, there I am. Okay. There. Brighten it up a bit so you can see it. On this score calculator, you can just simply type in your raw score for either the listening or the reading. It's different for academic than general, so be careful. And then for the listening, you can simply put in the score like Akshay says, 33. So Akshay, your score would be... Oh, where's the score? Should be giving me your score. I'm not sure why it's... Let me refresh the page here. Well, your score should be coming up here, Akshay, but for some reason it's not. I've never seen our score calculator not work, so I'll definitely reach out to our tech team and ask them what's going on. Let me just see if that's the case for this as well. Yeah, it is. Okay. So you cannot check your score on our score calculator right now, but I'm sure by tomorrow you will, because I will send an email very quickly after the class telling our tech team that, hey, fix our score calculator. So it is a tool that's there, along with many, many others, okay? All right, everyone. So great job in today's and yesterday's listening. Let me just see, that was the... Just for fun, I'm curious now. Let's see. Yeah, it's for both websites, so it's something in the root system. Okay, all right, thanks for bearing with me. All right, everyone, so that was it for this class. Let me brighten up our lives here a little bit. I will be back tomorrow with speaking part 3 for the all chat class, okay? Thanks, Eugene. Have a great weekend as well. Have a great day, everyone, and join me tomorrow at the same time for some speaking part 3 questions and practice. You're very, very welcome, honey. Have a great day, Akshay. Goodbye, everyone. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from Victoria for now. aehelp.com for academic IELTS, glshelp.com for general IELTS. Bye, everyone.